Think of a time in your life when everything suddenly changed. Think of a time like that. All of a sudden, you thought you knew how things worked. You thought you knew how the world worked. You thought you knew everything fit together. You thought you knew exactly how everything fit. This was the way things are. This is the boundaries of things. This goes this far and no further. And then suddenly, something changed. And all of a sudden you realize these boundaries that you'd set don't really exist. They just exist in your mind. And actually, the whole situation is much bigger, much wider, huger than you ever thought it could be. You ever had that happen? Imagine that happening. You're just opening up this new idea you never saw before. That's a little hard to imagine. So think of an optical illusion. Seen optical illusions? Those optical illusions where you look at something and you look at it differently and suddenly things change. Yeah? Do you know the illusion of the vase with two faces? You know that one? Yeah. Okay. Most people know that one. If you don't know it, there's a vase. And the thing about it is, for the longest time, when you look at it the first time, is all you see is the vase. And I remember the first time I saw it, I kept looking at it and said, what are you talking about, two faces? There's no two faces there. There's a vase. A big black vase right there, sitting right in the middle. And I kept staring and staring and staring at it. My whole world was that vase. That's all I could see. And then gradually, something changed. You started to see the faces. You see the faces? You see them? One face here.
You said that. Yeah.
One face over here. Exactly. And that's when things change. And that's the sort of change I had when I was listening to a DVD by Darren LaCroix, a world champion speaker. And as I was listening to the DVD, it was like Darren was speaking to me. Well, since it was a DVD, technically Darren was speaking to me. And Darren said, Tim, this new thing is going to open up your whole world. You're going to change your perspective and understand things completely differently. I said, look, Darren, I've been in Toastmasters a long time. I know how things work. You can't change me. I know how things work. I've been doing a lot of speeches. No, Tim, you think you've been doing a lot of speeches, but when you understand the three parts of a speech, it's going to open you up. Darren, come on. Forget about it. I know all there is. This is the way things are. This is the way. I learned in Toastmasters. That's the way it is. That's the way it works. Tim, trust me. And then Darren explained the three parts of the speech. And it was like, wow. It's like everything opened up. It was like the vase with two faces. I've been focusing so much on the vase, I didn't realize that that vase was only the second part of a speech. That actually was the first part, that first hidden face. And a third part, that third hidden face. And that every speech you give has all three parts. But if you only focus on the vase, you're only getting 1/3 of your speech out there. And as I started to understand how this worked, I started to understand how the vase worked and the two faces supporting the vase worked. All of a sudden, the speaking transformed. I completely put away the old way of speaking. Completely put it away and started doing it a different way, incorporating all three parts of the speech. Once I started doing that, I started to speak better. Started speaking so well, I started winning contests. And as I started winning contests, I started helping other people to win contests. And finally, these three parts of the speech helped so much I was able to go on and start coaching. And I coach Amy today. A lot of it because these three parts of the speech. And the thing about it is, just like the vase with two faces, you can't have the vase without the two faces. You can't have the two faces without the vase. They all go together. So in the coming weeks, you're going to learn about that first hidden face. That first hidden face that you don't really see, but it's there. It's always there, even when you're giving a presentation. Find out a little bit more about the vase itself, how the vase works, how it helps you get your speech across. And finally, about the second hidden face. that third part of the speech. Most people aren't aware of, most people don't think about. But once you become aware of, you develop, you build, you grow your speech to a whole new level. So you're going to learn about the three parts of speech. You're going to find out about the mistakes that most speakers make when they're making, especially not understanding that second hidden phase. And you'll find out how to overcome those mistakes. And along the way, you'll discover, develop, build, and grow your skills so you'll be able to speak at a much higher level you ever thought possible. Start out by talking about the first part of the speech, how that works, why it's hidden, how you can unhide it. Then talk a little bit more on the second part of the speech, and finally wrap up with the third part of the speech. So in the coming weeks, we'll talk about where it all begins. It's that first part of the speech. It's so important to speaking, that first hidden phase.